When Charles turned 72, he started noticing something strange. At first, it was during community dinners when couples would sit side by side, quietly trading tired looks instead of warm laughter. Later, it was at the doctor's office where he saw his married friend Michael constantly sighing because he had to wait for his wife to be ready before every appointment. Charles had been single for more than a decade, and while people often looked at him with pity, he began to realize something powerful. He actually felt lighter, freer, and in many ways happier than many of his friends who were still married or tied to a partner. Being single, which once felt like a burden, was turning out to be one of his greatest advantages in old age. This may sound surprising because we grow up with the belief that life must always be shared with a partner. Society often whispers that being alone in later years is a tragedy. But let's pause for a moment. What if that belief is not entirely true? What if, as we move into our 60s, 70s, or even 80s, being single is not a curse, but a blessing? For many seniors across America, singleness has opened doors to independence, peace, and a new kind of joy that married friends sometimes envy in secret. Think about it this way. Old age is already a time when the body slows, the days feel shorter, and the world seems more fragile. Carrying the weight of someone else's expectations, disagreements, or bad habits can add stress we don't need. Yet being single, if embraced with confidence, allows seniors to craft their own rhythm, rediscover old passions, and live with a freedom they might not have had for decades. In fact, more and more studies show that older adults who feel content in their single life can enjoy better mental health and even lower stress than those in strained partnerships. In today's video, we are going to turn an old assumption upside down. Instead of seeing singleness as loneliness, we will look at it as an opportunity. We will explore why being single in old age can sometimes be better than having a partner. By the end, you might just see your own life or the lives of those around you in a completely new light. So stay with me as we uncover 5 surprising reasons why being single can bring more peace, more joy, and more freedom than many expect. And before we dive in, I'd love to hear from you. Do you believe being single in your 70s or 80s is harder or easier than being partnered? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you find this conversation helpful, please hit like and subscribe so you never miss another video from Senior Ways. Point 1. Freedom over daily choices. When Donna turned 75, she often laughed about the little things she no longer had to negotiate. For decades, she had woken up to the sound of her husband's alarm, had to plan meals around his likes and dislikes, and even shared the TV remote with him every night. After her husband passed away, friends pitied her, assuming loneliness would swallow her days. But Donna noticed something unexpected. She could now eat oatmeal for dinner if she wanted, keep the thermostat at the exact temperature that made her comfortable, and spend an entire Saturday reading without anyone asking her to hurry up. It was as if her time and choices had finally returned to her. Science tells us that autonomy, the ability to make your own decisions, is directly tied to happiness and mental well-being, especially in later life. When seniors feel in control of their environment, their stress levels go down, and their sense of satisfaction goes up. For someone single in old age, every small choice adds up to a life that feels truly theirs. There are no compromises over what to eat, where to travel, or how to spend the quiet evenings. Instead of being a limitation, singleness often becomes the key to daily freedom. For seniors like Donna, that freedom is priceless. She tells her grandchildren, being single doesn't mean I'm missing out. It means I get to decide what matters most to me. If you've ever felt that tug of wishing you had more say in your daily routine, being single might just be the answer. Point 2. Less stress from conflict. Now let's turn to Charles again. While he enjoyed catching up with his friends at the senior center, he often noticed how many of them carried a quiet tension. His neighbor Paul, age 78, was still married. He loved his wife dearly, but after 60 years together, even small arguments about where to put the salt shaker or how to fold laundry left him drained. Charles would listen and think, "That stress I don't have to carry anymore." Research backs this up. Studies have found that constant conflict in later life can raise blood pressure, weaken the immune system, and even contribute to heart problems. Arguments that once seemed small when people were younger can feel heavier in old age because energy and patience are more limited. Seniors who are single often avoid this layer of daily conflict entirely. Without a partner to argue with, many find their days filled with more peace and fewer emotional storms. That doesn't mean single life is without challenges, but when it comes to stress from disagreements, being alone can be a gift. Seniors often say they feel calmer, lighter, and more able to focus on what truly brings them joy. Charles once put it simply, "I'd rather enjoy a peaceful evening alone than spend it fighting over the remote." For many, that peace of mind is worth more than constant companionship. Point 3. More time and energy for friendships. Linda, at 73, found that being single gave her something she had not enjoyed for years: the freedom to invest deeply in her friendships. When she was married, most of her social life revolved around couple activities, dinners, family gatherings, and holidays that were shared with her husband's circle. After she became single, Linda worried she might feel isolated, but instead she discovered that her time and emotional energy could now go toward people who truly uplifted her. She started a weekly lunch with 2 lifelong friends, joined a church group where she felt seen, and even reconnected with her cousin, whom she had not spoken to in decades. Psychologists often point out that friendships become more vital to health as we age. Unlike romantic partnerships, friendships are chosen freely and often maintained through shared joy rather than obligation. Research shows that strong social ties can lower the risk of depression, improve memory, and even extend life expectancy. Seniors who are single often find it easier to prioritize these meaningful bonds because they are not caught up in the compromises and responsibilities of a partner's needs. Linda loves to say, "I may not have one partner, but I have many companions." For seniors, friendships can bring laughter, support, and a sense of belonging without the tension that sometimes comes with marriage in later years. Being single means you can choose who you spend your golden hours with, and that choice can fill your life with warmth. Point 4. Financial independence and security. George, age 79, had a very different story. He had been married twice, and both times he found himself tied to financial responsibilities that drained his resources. His second wife had expensive tastes, vacation shopping sprees, and a retirement plan that leaned heavily on his savings. When that marriage ended, George was left with less than he had hoped for. But over time, he realized something important. Living single meant he could finally control his money without compromise. He downsized his home, set a budget that fit his lifestyle, and started saving again. The freedom to decide where his money went gave him a peace of mind he had not felt in decades. Money often becomes a sensitive issue in older age. Couples sometimes argue about spending inheritance or medical costs. These disagreements can strain relationships and create financial anxiety. But seniors who are single have one clear advantage: every dollar is theirs to manage. They can choose to spend on travel, donate to causes they care about, or save for health care without negotiating with a partner. This autonomy not only reduces conflict, but also builds a stronger sense of security. George now enjoys taking his grandchildren on simple fishing trips, paying for their college books, and knowing that his money is used exactly how he wants it to be. Financial independence is not about greed, it's about peace of mind. For many seniors, being single provides that freedom and security in a way that marriage sometimes complicates. Point 5. Rediscovering self and personal passions. Maria, who turned 80 last spring, often tells her friends that being single has been the best gift of her later years. After her husband passed, she spent months feeling lost. But slowly she began to realize she could return to the activities she had once loved. She signed up for a watercolor class, planted a small vegetable garden, and even started journaling her life stories for her grandchildren. "I thought I had lost myself," she explained, "but being single gave me back the time and space to find me again." This is a powerful truth many seniors discover. While relationships can bring joy, they also demand compromise. Over years or decades, hobbies, dreams, and even simple pleasures may be set aside for the sake of a partner's needs. Singleness in old age, however, can reopen those doors. Science even supports this. Studies on aging show that engaging in meaningful personal activities, whether it's painting, gardening, volunteering, or writing helps protect memory, lowers anxiety, and provides a strong sense of purpose. Seniors who embrace their independence often find themselves not just passing time, but thriving. For Maria, mornings with her paintbrush feel like a rebirth. She is not simply filling her days, she is living them fully. Singleness, far from being lonely, has allowed her to finally explore the person she always wanted to be. That rediscovery of self is one of the richest rewards of later life. Final thoughts. So, what have we uncovered today? Being single in old age is not the tragedy society sometimes paints it to be. Instead, it can be a chance to live with greater freedom, enjoy less conflict, invest more deeply in friendships, gain financial independence, and rediscover passions that may have been lost along the way. Each story we shared, from Donna's joy in daily freedom, to Charles's peace without conflict, to Linda's vibrant friendships, George's financial control, and Maria's rediscovery of self, reminds us that single life in later years can be full of light, peace, and purpose. Old age is not about clinging to old rules or outdated expectations. It is about finding what makes you feel alive and whole. For many seniors, that comes not from having a partner, but from embracing the independence of being single. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Do you think life as a single senior is more freeing, or do you believe partnership still holds more value? Share your stories and thoughts in the comments below, because your experience may inspire someone else. If you found today's discussion meaningful, please give this video a like and subscribe to Senior Ways so you never miss another message of encouragement, wisdom, and hope for your golden years. And remember, being single in old age doesn't mean being alone. It can mean being free to live the life that feels right for you.